Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. Obviously, the miners did really well today. Bitcoin did pretty good today as well. And then we only have one news story here, which I thought we'd kind of get into it. But I remember saying last time I wasn't going to do videos on Friday because you guys are all busy. I'm usually busy, or at least I'd like to be busy, but I'm not busy. But we'll take a look at Marathon, obviously reporting that we're going to be working with the Kenyan government. I think this is actually pretty good news there. And we'll take a look at just the miners, see how they did today, Bitcoin, some charts on Bitcoin, and we'll call it a day. We'll get into a Q&A, and it'll be an easy day. But I just thought I would get this stuff out of the way, and because I thought it was great news. So, as always, not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure here is provided for you guys as well. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at really quick what's going on here with Bitcoin charts really quick. And then we'll get into other things as well. So this is the total network hash rate right now. This is on the 7-day average. We can see that the network hash rate is starting to peak again, at least on the 7-day. We're back up to 622 exahash. So that leads me to believe that hash rate is being installed out there. With the Bitcoin price obviously being where it's at, we're not seeing that dip like we've talked about before, right? In the network hash rate after the halving event, which is good and bad in a sense, right? We were hoping that we would have at least a little bit of a dip, like maybe 5, 10, 15, 20% excuse me, dip in the network hash rate, getting rid of some of the older miners that are out there, like the 80 and 90 terahash miners, but that's not happening here. So those are going to be around with us for a little bit longer, I think, which obviously is going to lead to network hash rate going up maybe a little bit more than we thought. If we look at the 30-day average here, we can see that it's kind of averaging out here right now at 601 exahash, so it's still pretty high as it is right now. It's obviously down from the highs that we had, but it's not that bad. It's high was 625 exahash. If we look at the transaction fees for the day are 23.42. That's down from the 29 something that we saw yesterday. So it's down a little bit here. It still equates to about 5% of the rewards that they get per day right now on for the Bitcoin miners. And then here's the hash price on that. Obviously, that follows directly with Bitcoin price, where that goes. Bitcoin kind of went up a little bit here today. So we're seeing that it's up to 53.72 cents per day right now. So that's still in line where we've seen things. And then looking at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin had another candle where it came back down and went back up, right? So overall for the weekend, I would expect for the weekend, especially since Monday, the markets are closed here in the United States with Memorial Day, that we're probably going to trade sideways over the weekend. At least I would hope so, because I don't want to have these gaps on the CME futures, which not always they get filled, but majority of the time they do get filled, right? Don't want to have those gaps in there. So I hope it just trades sideways for the next 3 days here, which would be, I think, great. Miners, on the other hand, miners had a really good day today for the most part. A lot of the miners were up in the green. Only one that was down today was Digihost. And big one today was actually CORZ. CORZ did pretty good today. CORZ, if we look at that one, I mean, it was up, excuse me, 15.59% up on the day. Really no news out there as far as why. Maybe it's finally getting noticed a little bit as far as their operations and things that they have going on for them, hash rate, how much the Bitcoin they mine and everything else. And then they're just way undervalued, in my opinion, right now. So maybe that's just part of the process here where they are getting noticed a little bit, which is obviously nice to see. And then what else do we have here? Other than that, let's see here. IREN was up nicely as well. IREN was up 10.75%. This stock continues to go up. I was hoping it would come down a little bit more. I was hoping to buy into it. I didn't. So that's on me. You know, you can only do what you can with the cash that you have available. So we'll see if it comes down a little bit. If not, I'll be possibly buying into it later on. We'll have to see on that one. But here's what we have. Obviously, everybody else was in the green, so that was good news there. Okay, let's take a look at the one story that we do have here today, which is obviously on Marathon. I thought they changed their name to Mara, right? I don't know why they're still going by Marathon Digital Holdings. But nonetheless, so Mara Digital Holdings enters into an agreement with the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum of the Republic of Kenya to enhance Kenya's energy sector. They're not doing that just to obviously enhance Kenya's energy sector. They're doing it to also to mine Bitcoin there, right? Which obviously I think, based on what I'm reading and what I'm seeing right now, I think it's great news, actually. Okay, so agreement establishes a joint steering committee and a framework to utilize green data centers to optimize renewable energy projects, advance technological infrastructure, and promote economic development across the Republic of Kenya, which is all great news, right? There's nothing really bad in here. It's actually really good news. So Marathon has entered into an agreement with the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum of Republic of Kenya to support the utilization of energy and to optimize renewable energy projects across the Republic of Kenya. I think this is great. Under the terms of the agreement, MOEP and Marathon will exchange policy, scientific and technological information, as well as project investment expertise to better understand how to optimize renewable energy projects that produce surplus energy due to intermittency and seasonal variations. So think about like solar, right? Solar farms, things like that. You only get that when the sun is shining. You don't get that at night. So there might be some ways you can obviously do that and help the grid overall, right? If you have miners there, they can mine with the surplus energy that's being developed there or supplied there, and then obviously help also build out the grid further within the country of Kenya. Okay. Let's see here. A joint steering committee will be established that will be staffed by both MOEP and Marathon senior officials to ensure the development and implementation of these energy-related projects across the country. With projected foreign investment expected to exceed 80 million, this venture is poised to deliver economic benefits to the Kenyan economy and generate revenue for the local energy sector ecosystem. All good things. I'm not sure if this is so the foreign investments. I don't know if this is directly just Marathon investing 80 million. I was in a space with them also today where they held a space on X talking about this new development for them. And I heard them say that I think that they were going to be investing about 80 million. So I think it's just them doing it, but correct me if I'm wrong there. I got in a little late to that space. I only I got in with about 10, 15 minutes of the space left. So I heard probably the last part of it, basically. One of the things that I did hear in there is obviously that they would be working with the MOEP there, and the revenue that the MOEP would be generating from them potentially mining at Kenya would result in MOEP being able to build out basically power lines, transmission lines, things like that into rural areas that don't currently have power and things like that, which I think is just a great thing. You know, anytime we can have Bitcoin used for good in the world, I think it's a great thing. And if we have miners doing it alongside with it, I think that is just fantastic. So I'm all for this. I think this is great. Obviously, I had a little question on Kenya, right? Where is it at? I knew basically where it was at roughly, but I didn't know exactly where. Let me see if there's anything else down here. Nope. So let's get into the map here. So if you had a question of where Kenya is, like I did, I'm like, I knew it was somewhere by Saudi Arabia and things like that. And it's actually by Somalia here, Kenya, Ethiopia. You got South Sudan, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Tanzania as well, Uganda as well. So Kenya is right there, right? And I wanted to find out, is Kenya a good country to invest in potentially? I looked up like the State Department, World Bank, things like that, and it looks like they have a stable democracy there, right? I'm not fluent on all foreign countries and things like that, what's going on around the world everywhere, but I just wanted to kind of take a look what's going on there, and it seems like they're pretty good as far as investment ability and things like that, going into investing into that country here. And I even typed it up to Grok here on X. Is Kenya a good country to invest in? Here's what Grok had to say. Kenya appears to be a promising investment destination based on the information provided. The country's stable democracy and efforts to improve the business environment, coupled with fast-growing population and government support for various sectors, make it an attractive location for investment. President William Ruto has been actively promoting Kenya as the best investment destination in Africa, highlighting its political stability, efficient tax and supply chain regimes, and the potential for growth in sectors like tourism, architectural, healthcare, and manufacturing. So those are all great things, right? The benefit that you also get from that is possibly that Marathon can build out these infrastructures or these data centers maybe at a lower cost, because I think just the currency exchange and everything else and the pricing there might be less where it is, where in the United States or other countries, things like that. So that might be obviously a benefit as well to Marathon. And obviously a benefit to Kenya as well if they can build out their own infrastructure for electricity and things like that on the backs of the Bitcoin miners, which I think would be great. Like I said, anything that Bitcoin can do to help the world in general and Bitcoin miners as well, I think it's great. Right? I'm not going to take anything away from that. I think it's a good thing. Okay, so it looks like Marathon is doing the right things here. We'll have to see, obviously, over time what this actually means. I think I've heard on the X Spaces call that they're looking to possibly do like a 10 to 50 megawatt facility as a pilot facility just to test it out, I guess, to see how things work. And then if things work out well, they will obviously put in maybe more capital at that point. But that is it. Easy day. So let's get into the Q&A side of things. and we'll call it a day. If you guys have any questions, if you don't, we'll call it a day at that point. Okay, let me see. Q&A. Here we go. Okay, so as always, Q&As are below, or not below, delayed about 15 seconds or so on that. So let's get into it here. Mara to $500. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get to $500 this time around in this, but I think a lot of people will be very happy with that. Let's see here. Do you have the sense Cleanspark is utilizing its ATM lately? I don't, but I think they would be wise to do it. Obviously, the prices of their stock is still pretty high, which obviously helps them in being able to do that. Their volume is still really good, so it should make sense, right? David here says missed out on IREN. I guess you were trying to say that. I did. Well, I didn't really miss out on them. I got into them like in November, December of last year. I've been buying them slowly this past year too, the last couple of months, but I haven't been buying much. I've been buying basically the difference of what I've been buying in Bitfarms. So I'd put in like $1,000 that I want to invest in Bitfarms. I would try to get like round numbers, right? So like 300 shares or 350 shares, whatever I had left, I would put into IREN. I wish I would have maybe gotten into IREN a little bit more, but I wanted to get into Bitfarms, have a position that I have there, and then my goal was to get into IREN as always. Missed out on IREN. Wolf's still undervalued. I think Wolf is still potentially undervalued, right? They have great power cost, great operations, things like that. The only thing is not much. Well, they still have some growth here this year, but a lot of their growth could be possibly in 2025, where I think a lot of the investors are looking for growth this year. So based on that, I would say might be a good one to kind of hold off on for the time being. See if they come out and say that they're going to get or increase their hash rate going forward this year. Let's see here. Comment here. Seems like all the stocks with ATMs are hitting them midday after the pumps. Yeah, it does kind of seem like that, right? In the morning we're going up, and then in the afternoon prices are going down. Let's see. Do you think any of other mining companies will do more investments in the Eastern Hemisphere? I think over time they will. I don't know exactly who will do that, but I think over time they are going to start looking elsewhere as well. Excuse me. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any questions here. We got a couple comments here. Here's a comment. One, I just hate the fact that Mara seems to be range bound between 18 and 22 no matter the news. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the market that we're in right now. I wouldn't be too down on that. I think in time, right? Let Bitcoin get to like 75, 80,000, 85,000. You'll see the miners pump at that point. You're bullish on Mara, by the way, which is great, right? I think Mara is obviously the biggest one. It is the biggest one here, right? So they have everything to lose. They just need to operate better, which I've said before. But other than that, I think Mara is a great company, right? The biggest miner here. Let's see. Oh, that one. Have you ever imagined in what conditions you start the first sell on dollar average? Have you ever imagined in what conditions you start the first sell on dollar average? So I think you're maybe asking when would I start to dollar cost average out potentially? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I want to definitely see what the market does, where it goes in the next couple of months, right? I don't think the top's going to be here in the next 6 months. So we'll see where things go at that point. And then I'll continue to evaluate where things are going, but definitely probably start dollar cost averaging out after Bitcoin hits at least 100,000 plus, right? Right now, it just doesn't make any sense to do that. So we'll have to reevaluate things. Let's see. IREN price target of BTC 100. Sorry, I know the answer to this every day. Yeah, I mean, it's basically you're looking at 40% gains roughly or so on it, right? 50%, well, maybe a little more. Bitcoin's at 67, 50% will be 30 some, yeah, so about 50% roughly gains on it. You're looking at miners doing 3 to 4x potentially at that point, so that's kind of where you could see it. Let's see. Hi Seb, hope you are fine. I am fine. Thank you for asking. When do you think Corsicana will start to add hash rate in the next month production? I would hope that they would start increasing their hash rate, obviously, in this month, in May, which Jason has stated that they are, building that out and installing miners, doing all the things. But immersion technology always takes a little bit longer because you got to put in those, those vats where you put the miners into and everything else. So that always takes a little bit more time to get up. But I would expect to see some good news, maybe potentially for May. If not in May, definitely in June, I would think. Let's see. Miners X 2X from here is too conservative because we either are going to sell into the strength or weakness. I mean, but that depends where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin only goes up to 100,000, right, in the next couple months, maybe by the end of the year, that's not a lot of gain in Bitcoin. So you're looking at Bitcoin does 50% at that point, right, increase from where it's at right now. You can't expect the miners to do 5, 10x at that point. Maybe they can, but conservatively, I'm thinking maybe 3 to 5x at most, maybe. Let's see. Manuel, I just did your question, buddy. So as always, be patient. I will get to your guys' questions. When are you going to stop DCing in late summer? I am done with Cleanspark. I'm done with Cleanspark. I'm done with Bitfarms. I have the positions that I wanted to get to. The only one that's left out there is IREN that I wanted to get into. And after that, depending if IREN runs on me and I can't get in at a decent price, I may start looking into CORZ Scientific, right? I think CORZ Scientific is way undervalued right now as well. And I think maybe that one might be, it's high risk, high reward potential. But that's kind of the way I'm looking at things. I'd love to have some more IREN. IREN I only have right now, like, excuse me, a couple hundred shares of it. Cleanspark I got, several thousand. Same with Bitfarms. So I'd like to have a bigger position in IREN before I'd start getting into core. But we'll see. Let's see. Hive feels like one of the most undervalued. Do you agree? It's undervalued for a reason. I think the reason that it's undervalued is maybe two reasons, really. One is their hash rate growth this year. I know that they've said that they're going to get to about 6 exahash and then possibly getting to 10 exahash is maybe the goal here going forward. But we haven't seen any purchases on miners on that type of stuff. The other reason might be they do have a little bit of a hodl, a pretty good hodl. It's about 2,000 something Bitcoin right now. But they can't take advantage of it with the FASB rules because they are located in Canada. So those might be the two things that are really kind of hitting it against it. But the main thing I think is just mainly their growth. If they came out to grow into 15 exahash or 20 exahash or something like that, then the stock would definitely do very well going forward. But they've been very conservative in their operations, in their growth, and this has been going all the way back to from when I started investing in them in 2017, right? They haven't, their goal has never been to be like the top miner. Their goal has always been to be like, we'll maintain our 1% of the Bitcoin network and we're happy with that, right? So it's not very motivational, I guess you could say, to investors, or I would say not very motivational to investors to get into the company here. They are obviously working also on the AI side of things. So, I mean, they're very efficient in operations and everything else. It's just the growth. They're lacking growth, and that's the only thing I can see that's holding them back. Let's see. Do you think Riot will perform like Cleanspark, Marathon, or IREN? They are lagging behind. Let's see. Riot. So Riot's biggest issue is their operations. If they can fix those with the Corsicana facility and also improve their fleet at Rockdale, I think they can do much, much, much better going forward, right? But that's if they can do those things. Yes, they are lagging behind right now, Marathon and or IREN and Cleanspark and all those guys, and that's based on their operations, unfortunately. So, and Jason knows this. So I know that they're working hard to remedy that. What color Lambo are you getting a year from now? No, I'm not getting a Lambo. I'm not spending that money on something that's going to probably depreciate on me. I did say to myself that one of my long time goals and wishes was to get a Rolex watch. So that has been with me for probably 15, 20 years or something like that. I said if I ever make it to where my net worth is over $1 million or something like that, I would buy myself a Rolex watch at that time. Right, something I can pass down to my kids when I pass away in 20, 30 years. Those usually still retain their value. And I'm looking at like maybe an $8,000 to $10,000 watch. That's it. That's going to be my splurge. The other splurge is going to be probably putting in a pool into my house. That's it. Right? So it's all for the family. Let's see. Why is CORZ still high risk? Isn't it the worst behind them? Uh, the majority of bad stuff is behind them. The only thing is, can they actually get to the warrant prices, right? Which is the first one is like $6 something. The other one's like $8 something. If they can't get to that $6 something price, obviously, how are they going to pay down the debt that they have, right? Because that 6.8, I think it's like 681 or something like that. That first warrant gets executed and then they pay off the debt, right? If they can't get to that, that's risky there, right? So you're basically gambling that they can get to that price point. The other thing is, right now they can't use an ATM, I don't think. After getting out of bankruptcy, I think they have to wait like a year or something like that, or get permission from the SEC or something. So they don't have that option to pull on that in order to grow going forward. So they really need to get the ATM or the debt paid off through the warrant and be able to get cash out of that in order to grow the company as well. All right, so that's kind of what you're betting on right there. That's the only real knock on the company. Otherwise, their operations are great. Everything else is great. Adam has done a great job turning the company around so far, right? He just has to continue to execute, and they really do need those warrants to exercise, basically. Let's see. Hey, Seb, IREN is king going forward. Could be, right? They have a good path forward, but they're obviously in pretty good company as well. You got Marathon in there, Cleanspark, Riot. They're all vying for, 40, 50 exahash. Riot has options to get to 100 exahash. So they definitely have to execute there, but they're definitely in good company. Bitfarms seems to be slowly climbing back. I have a feeling it'll spike up next week. It's pretty low in stock price compared to others. Yeah, I have the same feeling right now. I think once we get the CEO news that there's a new CEO or something like that, I think that should help as well. Plus, they just got to report that they got to either 10 exahash in May or 12 exahash in June. Those goals have to be at least close and be close to being met. Let's see here. How much should we value these AI ventures? Are the pure BTC miners more likely to appreciate more than Hive, Hut, BT? We're seeing that right now, right? IREN came out with news that they're going to be shortening their time frame to get to 20 exahash to Q3, 30 exahash by Q4. What did the stock do? The stock ran up like crazy, right? So they're being more valued on the Bitcoin mining side of things. The AI side of things is also tricky, right? It's very complex the way that works in there. You either have a customer that's going to go in for a longer term contract or short term contracts. The machines behind those are expensive. The H100s are like $30,000 per chip or per GPU unit basically, and you need a lot of those. So that's expensive. Whereas the Bitcoin miners, you can get them for like $2,800, $3,000, something like that. So it's a big difference. Capital expenditure is huge on the AI side of things. So right now, at least we're seeing that the Bitcoin mining is being valued more. Hut 8 versus IREN. That's an easy one. IREN right now, at least for me, based on the future growth that they have. Hut 8 doesn't really have much growth for self-mining. That's really what I look at. Question, how high will Bitfarms go with 10 exahash news is released, potentially June 3rd? If they get to 10 exahash, that's 3 exahash being installed there. I think the stock is going to do pretty well. I think within a week, we could see it being up 30, 40, 50% potentially, right? And then if they also provide that they're going to get to 12 exahash by June, or in June, that would be huge as well, I think, right? And then getting the CEO, I think, would also help. Sadie, thank you. I regret that I have one like to give. Appreciate it. All right, I think that's it for the questions, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. If you're in the United States, you get to enjoy a longer weekend. We have a Memorial Day weekend here, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Get outside, have fun in the sun, touch the grass, enjoy it. The miners will still be here on Tuesday when we get back to trading and everything else, and we'll see what happens then. It's going to be a pretty short week, and then we start getting into May updates and things like that. So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about at that point. Okay. Also tomorrow, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, I'll be co-hosting with the BTC Mining Site guy. I don't remember who we have coming on the show, but we'll have somebody good probably. Knowing the BTC Mining guy, we'll have somebody good on there as well. That's at 12. That we'll try to keep it. I got to be there at least. I can be there at least for like 4 hours. After that, I got to run to a graduation party. So it should be fun. But that is it. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great weekend. We'll probably do something maybe on Sunday. Probably won't do anything on Monday. All right, see ya.